Good morning, everyone. Today is May 13th, 2021. This is StockCast, your pre-market show. My name is James Mason. With me is Todd Derby. Todd, how are you doing this morning?
Doing well. Doing very well. Thank you. How are you?
I am doing well. So currently, the Dow futures are up 20 points, S&P 500 up 15.5 points, and we may have a bullish little bounce today just to kind of ease off some of that selling pressure that we have experienced over the last few days. So, Todd, what do you think about this market pullback that everyone is freaking out over?
I mean, we know it's coming. We know there's going to be a market pullback, and a little bit of a correction is not a bad thing. It's how you're positioned and how you emotionally handle it. I mean, I haven't even looked at my retirement account where I've got a big chunk of money there because I know it's going to be down several $1,000s and it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
My day trading account's not hurt because it's my day trading bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in the market, so I'm waiting. I use it differently. So if you're watching your retirement account every few minutes, you're going to have a bad day, or did have a bad day.
Yep. So you take all your money out of your retirement account and put it all in POAI. That's the only safe plan.
I did. Yesterday, I entered POAI around low 90s, and then in the after hours around 5:47, I clipped it for $1.19. So I made 1.3. Let's talk about POAI and those clowns.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let me pull up the chart here. All right. So POAI released their earnings yesterday, and then there was a news agency out there that reported false information saying that basically POAI, instead of them having right under $300,000 in revenue, they reported as in almost $300 million in revenue for the quarter, which is substantial, especially for a small cap bio penny stock. And that's one of the things that, hold on a second, getting a news update here. That's one of the things that caused this huge spike on our chart here that we're looking at. Okay. So if you ask me, the earnings, they were pretty good. They were positive. Not in the terms of like them beating, but the information that they had in the earnings, it just shows how they are turning some things around in the company. I can't remember the exact number that they have cash on hand, but they have paid off all their debt and whatnot. And I mean, they're going to do things moving forward, but they have so many catalysts in the pipeline. But we can see how easy it was for POAI to start making that push up. And really the sell-off pretty much came once people started realizing, hey, that article is a typo. And then that article has disappeared from what I can tell. I can't find that article anymore. And of course, no updated, hey, we're sorry, guys, we screwed up on that article, even though this is our job as that stock news media agency.
I don't understand it. I don't know how that goes out like that, unless they have a 19-year-old kid is not understanding the protocol and how to double check articles and double check typos. That's a big effing mistake.
Well, I mean, that is one of the issues here. Having people who are not experienced doing jobs, but you would think that a senior editor would kind of view over these articles before they're posted. I mean, I know it's all about getting the information out there quickly. I get that, but you should be held accountable for what you're reporting. I mean, it's not like we're talking about the weather. You screw up on the weather, no one cares.
You get another chance tomorrow.
No one cares. What's that?
You screw up on the weather, you get another chance tomorrow.
Exactly.
And if you get it right, no one remembers yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah.
We get the best jobs.
Yeah. But what about the people who bought up here at 128? It's not that they made a bad trade. They were going off of information that was posted by sources whose role is to report accurate information.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a typo in the headline. It even got me. I mean, I shared a screenshot of the article. I mean, the entire article is written and they literally spelled out percent. I mean, so it wasn't just a typo in the headline to where they rolled through with the article and the actual information was correct. The entire article is written out that this huge 94,000% difference from last year. And that's significant. But
so we've talked about this in the past about companies having integrity, and now literally we have to also be cognizant of the media, and we can't trust the media 100%. We have to double check our own homework if you're going to be a player in the game. If you're going to put, I mean, if you got 50 shares of POAI, you're not getting hurt. But if you have 50,000 shares, you have to be on top of this and pay attention and dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because for me, I mean, that was a difference in movement of, I think, like somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000. You know, the shift from 128 back down to 92 right now. I mean, that's.
And you and I were talking pre-market that had we figured it out quick enough, we would have dumped at between 115 and 120, taking a small loss, and jumped back in here at 88 cents. And
picked up additional 10,000 shares for free.
Right. We'd have been good with it.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's just another aspect of the dark side of the stock trading world as a retail trader. You expect these companies to report accurate information, and you can sometimes get caught up in it. Now, it had nothing to do with POAI. It was not their screw up at all. Again, like if you read their financials, in my opinion, I think things are looking positive. But those financials were not what we were looking for at all in this trade. This is a catalyst play, and I cannot wait for this catalyst to start showing up. But I do want to see it start pushing back up on the daily chart, and hopefully with the interest that should have been gained yesterday in this, hopefully that starts getting a little bit of eyes on this and people doing some research and seeing the value that this company will bring in the future and turn this thing around and start bouncing it out, get it to slowly ride up. Because I'd rather it start gaining upward momentum and get back around that 130 or higher range before dropping the catalyst. If they drop the catalyst down here around $1, it's just going to be a lot harder to reverse this downward momentum, gap up all the way here to the beginning of my target price. That's going to be pretty damn hard. So we'll just have to see what they do. Again, hopefully it did put some interest into this company, because for a while, really it's just been really the Transparent Traders and Webull group. We're the main groups having interest in this, and usually everybody else buys our shares once it already runs. So that's the cool thing about getting in it early. And for the ones who have done their research on it, I mean, we know what we're trading here, and we know the potential. But yeah, that was yesterday's drama after hours for a lot of us. And hey, we got to see how easy it was for it to shoot up. So
actually, I hadn't thought about that, and we didn't talk about that, but that's true. Like, I mean, we get some real news. This is going to fly quickly. So, I mean, for those that someone made a comment about they can't trade after 5:30. You want to get yourself in a position where you can trade after 5:30, because if this comes after hours, this is going to fly out of the gate, and you might miss an opportunity to make some money off it.
Yeah, guys. So all of y'all who have those brokerage accounts that you can't trade that late, man, come on. Y'all have known for months since the beginning of time that you've had those accounts that you can't trade that late. And how many trades have you missed? And then you'll always keep saying, man, I wish my broker would have let me do this. I need to change brokers. You always keep saying it. But why are you still holding on? Just go ahead, get you that broker that will let you trade later in the after hours or earlier in the pre-market, and just stop playing around with those funky little apps. You're limiting yourself. Just don't limit yourself. That's all I'm saying. All right. So kind of jumping back to what we were talking about pre-market, Todd, and at the beginning of the show, the Dow futures, which I don't even have Dow futures up, but I don't even like looking at this. That's delayed. Here, we'll look at it on the daily chart. So the Dow futures pulling back 650 points, and the day before, I can't even remember. I think like 400 something. But this is what we have been expecting, guys. I mean, it's just going to do its thing. And there comes a time to where stocks go down. And we're entering that phase, I believe. I mean, come on. How realistic is this? To not only recover from literally one of the greatest sell-offs of all time, but to come back and have the greatest recovery of all time, and then it just keeps on. We have a lot of pulling back to do. We have a lot of macro events that, man, if that foundation really starts to crumble, man, it's going to be a bad day for a lot of people because they only know how to trade in one direction, and that is bullish.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You have to learn how to trade to the short side. It doesn't mean that you should trade to the short side, but if you choose not to trade going short, but understand it, it will help you see those bearish setups and everything taking place to where you're not holding on to something at the top of a major market correction. If it would end up like that. But knowing how to trade to the short side, it's just twice the potential to make money. So guys, if that's something that you're interested in, is making money in the stock market, I would definitely recommend at least just understanding it. So that's just my little rant on it. But it's no surprise that the market is pulling back. It needed to, and it's going to continue to pull back. If you think that this is bad, you haven't seen nothing yet. Let me pull up. I need to find my little EMA. Where is it? Here it is. All right. So let's take a look at some of the stocks in the comments really quick. So good morning, everyone.
First ticker is AMTX. Someone's asking about.
AMTX. So what are they asking about it?
They was asking let me pull it up here.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about re-entry in it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's always cool when you pull up a ticker that you've already previously looked at. Your lines are already on the screen.
Yeah. Don't even have to chart it out anymore. All right. So last update for short interest on AMTX. 697,000 shares being shorted, 3.7% of the float. Outstanding shares, 30 million shares outstanding. The float, 18.8 million shares. 42% held by institutions, so that's pretty significant. And looking at the daily chart right here. So what we're probably going to see take place with this. Okay, so they beat earnings. They had a surprise. That's good. We'll probably have a little bullish bounce off that 200 EMA line. Come back above 1325. Probably play around in here, and then it usually pulls back again. And then after it has that secondary drop, that's when it kind of levels out and then starts running back up. That's just me talking in the context of experience. And if you've ever like watched charts to where you'll see a sell off and then we'll have a bounce and come up and then it sells off again and creates that lower low. That's just what I'm kind of talking about in this hypothetical situation. So that's just quickly looking at this chart. That is what I expect. I expect it to bounce off the 200 EMA, make a little positive run up here, probably break above 1325, maybe test that mid $15, low $16 range, and then reject in there and then sell off again. And we'll just have to see really how it goes. Now, if it's going to keep following the overall market, I mean, this thing could really, really pull back. So the bullish setup is nowhere in yet. Might get lucky, get a bullish bounce, but again, that bullish setup is just not here quite yet. So that is what I see for ticker AMTX.
All right.
Let's see what else we have. Man, everybody talking about POAI.
Yeah. Well, after an event like that last night, it's kind of anticlimactic being here talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Sean McFadden's asking about X.
United Steel.
Hey,
honestly, it's been a few years since I traded United Steel. Let me see what their share structure is.
United Steel was the very first ticker that I traded with you.
Yeah, that's the last time I traded it. That's been what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was in 19. That's how we met, is through a TradeNet contest, and it took, I think, 3 or 4 days, but it got there, and it did what you call it. It just took some time, and you crushed it that day of the contest. You killed it.
Yeah, I remember I stocked it for 4 days, and I just kept taking some petty little losses on it, and then that final day when it actually ran, man, I made like 20 grand on it. It was something crazy.
Yeah.
So let me silence my phone. All right, last update for short interest. Shares short, 32.3 million shares being shorted, 12% of the float, days to cover 1.5. Shares outstanding, 200, and we'll round it up to 270 million shares outstanding. The float, 268 million shares. So a little bulky, especially for this PPS value. But when looking at this thing on that daily chart, it's literally right to that point in time to where it's probably going to start selling off. And if let me turn this indicator off real quick. If we kind of zoom out a little bit, if you guys know and understand the whole cup and handle pattern, this is literally the cup forming. And when the cup forms, usually have a pretty decent sell-off. And that sell-off will come down here and usually break below that 200 EMA line or strongly test it. It'll bounce, go sideways for a while, and then come back up and create higher highs later on in the future. Now, since we're talking about the daily chart and this setup not even evolving yet, I'd say this potential play of breaking these highs here, that's probably a year and a half, 2 years down the road. It's a long ways away. I mean, they could always bust out a catalyst or something, but I highly doubt that with the way things are kind of shaping up with the economy, or will be shaping up. You also got to think the market has a strong fear of inflation right now. And, when we're talking about a commodity like steel and inflation, that's not good. That's not good at all. So I'd be looking personally at US Steel to the bearish side. It's going to start selling off. And let's see. Let me try to find a breaking down point. So actually right here. Me personally, I would look at shorting it once it breaks below 24.63 on the daily chart for it to continue to sell off and test those low 20s, higher teens sometime in the future. So that is just what I see for United Steel, ticker X.
All right.
So that is all I had today. We're probably going to experience that little bullish bounce in the market. But just remember, guys, let me pull up the Dow futures again really quick on that daily chart. Just remember, just because we have a bullish bounce, that doesn't mean that that's the bottom. When something has usually 2 to 3 significant daily movements or candlestick movements in general, there's usually that little candlestick, maybe 2 candlesticks that go in the opposite direction. And it's just to kind of cool down that movement, whether it's going bullish or bearish, just generally speaking here. And a lot of people get fooled thinking, okay, this is the bottom or this is the top. And so they'll jump in to trade this bullish, or if we're talking in the terms of the top, to trade it bearish. But since we're looking at this, people get, psyched out thinking, okay, this is probably the bottom. We're going to go up and create new highs. That's just not the way it works, guys. I mean, you got to think, look back at this. We had a strong little sell-off right here, just a, correction. And yeah, they were right. But really, we weren't really too far out from them. The market really recovering at that point. But then as time keeps going on, when you keep having these bounces, these corrections, and then it bounces, at some point, as time just keeps going on, the odds get against you. It just cannot keep going up forever. And we're just to that point to where those sell-offs are going to be a lot stronger, like here, compared to definitely here, but compared to here, we're now looking at sell-offs like right here. This is a pretty strong one, and back here, this is a strong one. But of course, that was way too early. But look at back to here. I mean, if we look at this on the daily chart and we see this and we start trying to think, okay, I'm going to buy this dip on just the large caps in general, and next thing you know, if we were trying to think the same thing back here right at the beginning of the whole pandemic crisis, we're going to just buy this dip. This is just a pullback. Stocks go up forever. Well, then next thing you know, the market loses half of its value. And there was just more dip. You not only bought the dip, but you had to eat shit with it.
Absolutely.
So just keep that in mind, guys. I mean, that's pretty significant. I do expect this to sell off and us test the 200 EMA on the overall futures, just generally speaking, over the weeks to come. So anyways, y'all trade safe, and we will see y'all tomorrow. And remember, small position sizes.
Small position or no position.
Exactly. So
be smart, be safe.
Yeah. Y'all take care, and we will see y'all tomorrow.